Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to teach you how to play Knockout. Knockout is a combination of Scrabble and Hangman. So you will get letters, you will have to make words from those letters, and then you are trying to guess the words of other players before they can guess yours. And that's how you get more points. So let's walk through a practice round and see how this works. So at the start of the round, you are going to receive 9 letters. There are 3 rounds in the game, they all work the same way. So you get 9 letters at the start. And we are going to look at our letters in our hand and make a word from them. And we can submit a word that is at most 7 letters long. As you're looking at your letters, you can rearrange letters in your hand like this. Okay, that might be helpful. And then when you're ready, you are going to submit them like this and confirm, and now you've submitted a word. And when everyone has submitted a word, they all show up in the center over here. Cool. So let's pause right here. After you submit your word, the turn order is based on how quickly you submitted. So the first player to submit a word will get to go first. The second player to submit a word will go second, and so on. So the order, players keep taking turns, but submitting the word quicker puts you earlier in the turn order, which can be advantageous. Okay. So what's going to happen is, in this part of the game, each player is going to guess one letter at a time. And when you guess that letter, every instance of that letter in the words of other players is going to be flipped over. Okay, so let's see how that plays out. So bot 1 guesses an I, and it turns out that bot 2's word has an I in it. Bot 3 guesses a U, and the U's are flipped over in my word and bot 1's word. When all the letters in your word have been guessed and flipped over, you are knocked out. And what happens is you join the team of the player who knocked you out. So there were 4 of us in this game. We each started with a different color. And you can see that at this point in the game, bot 2 has been eliminated, and I eliminated them, so they are now on my team. That's why we both have a red border. So as you knock out other players by guessing, the last letter in their words, they will join your team and they can help you knock out the remaining players. The round is over when everyone has been knocked out except one player. On your turn, as I said, you can guess letters in other players' words. And on your turn, you will see all the letters of the alphabet from A to Z. And that's how you guess a letter. The other thing you can do on your turn instead is you can try to knock out a specific player. And the way you do that is by playing one of these cards that have the fists on them. And that's how you target a specific player. So if I was trying to knock out the orange player, I would play this orange card. And what happens then is I have to guess every remaining unflipped letter in their word correctly. If I do that, I knock them out and they join my team. If at any point I make a mistake, I get knocked out instead, and now I join their team. Okay? So getting knocked out removes your agency. You don't have anything, you don't get your turn anymore, but you are aligned with the player who knocked you out and you can help them. In this game, there are 4 ways to get points, and you are trading off these 4 ways to try and maximize your score, because the player who has the highest score at the end of 3 rounds wins the game. So the first way to get points is the length of the word you submit gives you that many points. So at the start of this round, I submitted a 5-letter word. That's why I immediately got 5 points. So longer words are better for your score. The second way to get points is every time you guess a letter, each instance of that letter that gets flipped over gets you a point. So if I guess A and 3 A's get flipped across all the other words, I will get 3 points. The third way to get points is if you knock out another player. Remember, there's 2 ways to knock out another player. Either you guess a letter and it turns out to be the last letter in that, it turns out to be the last remaining letter in that player's word. So if you knock them out, that counts as a knockout. Or if you play a knockout card and you target a specific player and you guess all the remaining letters in their word successfully, then you've also knocked them out. If you knock out a player, you get 2 points. Anyone who is aligned with you, anyone who is on your team, gets 1 point for knockouts. So if I knock out the orange player right here, I would get 2 points, and bot 2, who is on my team but is not me, would get 1 point. So that incentivizes them to help me knock out the remaining players because they still have a way to get points. The final way to get points is When you get knocked out, you get some points based on the order in which you got eliminated. So the first player to get knocked out will get 1 point. The second player to get knocked out will get 2 points, 3 points, 4 points, and so on. So the later you get knocked out, the more points you get. The last player left standing gets the maximum points in that category. Great. So that is the entire game. You guess letters until everyone's words have been guessed except for one player. And every time a letter is guessed, it's flipped over. If you forgot the word you submitted, you have the ability to see the letters that you submitted because there's these little eyeball icons next to the cards that you played. So I can see this as an F, I can see this as an O, this is a U that's been guessed by someone else, and D. Now, of course, these are bots. They do not play they do not play real words. But in a real game, it will look something like this. Okay, so you will have all these partially flipped words, and you are trying to knock out the remaining players like so. Now, what are these two columns in the beginning? What are these green decks? What are these yellow decks? These are just to help you do basic bookkeeping so that you don't have to remember a bunch of information. So the green deck shows you what letters could still be in that player's word. So every time letters are guessed, they are removed from the green deck so that you know this player can no longer have an F or a U or anything like that. And the way you can, again, click that eyeball icon to see all the letters that the player could still have. So that helps you make more informed guesses when you are guessing letters. The yellow decks show you what that player guessed. So because there's an I here, bot 1 guessed an I in the past. And that might be a clue that maybe bot 1 has an I in their word. Because remember, when you guess a letter, they don't get flipped over in your word. So those two columns help you with the bookkeeping and help you make better decisions. The final thing to say is that at the end of the round, you must get rid of at least 3 of your letters, and you will get new ones. So you can choose to exchange all of your letters. You can choose, but you have to exchange at least 3. And you may want to preserve rarer letters for future rounds so that you can reuse them. There's some strategy there. So this is a super fun game. Takes about 20 to 30 minutes depending on the number of players you have. And I think the team dynamic where you still have something to do even after your word has been guessed is really fun. And there's an interesting meta game around the kinds of words that people gravitate towards, because if you play words that are very common or have many common letters, they have a lot of vowels, they have A's and E's and T's and S's, then your word is more likely to be guessed quicker. So this forces people to play words that have rarer letters, even short words. Jut, J-U-T, is a very hard word to guess no matter how many guesses you get, which gives you enough time to solve the other player's words. So there's some interesting dynamics around that as well. This is one of our favorites. I definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, thanks so much. Let us know how it goes.